Hey guys, look at you guys already ready by the time I hit go live. Hey, what's up, Shania? I have my tea and my dinner, which is salmon and rice with sriracha on top, because you know I have to have like everything spicy. I have to have like spicy stuff in every meal. And I just got done editing like another episode, so I had no time to eat before I started streaming. I don't know how I feel about the salmon. Salmon's either a hit or miss. I'll eat some more, but it's very fishy. I don't like a very fishy fish. Because I don't think that fish is supposed to be fishy, you know? What's up, Jose? Nothing much, just eating salmon. I had donuts and lobster tail. Donuts and lobster tail, that's a wonderful combination. Amazing end, just wish we saw more of Rory. I always want to mess up when I say her name. Yeah, I love that character. I think she was like badass, and she was just a really good character. I liked her a lot. I wish we had more Rory as well. I think the ending makes sense. I don't know if I'm in love with the ending. I mean, I don't know what else they could have done, but I don't know. The whole season, in my opinion, the whole season 6 was not as good as I would have liked it to have been. And I get it that they had to like wrap up everyone's storyline and they had to close off like 6 seasons of this show. And so it wasn't like as many crazy things, but in my opinion, I think season 5 was better than season 6. I think season 5 was the best season it had ever had. I haven't finished the season yet, so I won't be staying long, but just want to say hi. Hey, what's up, Gothic Love Story? I haven't said anything too specific yet. Anna hasn't even watched it yet, like at all. So she probably won't be in this stream. So how much of the season did you finish? Oh, I finished all of it. I watched all of it in like 2 days. I watched it Friday when it came out, and then finished it Saturday. I knew I wasn't going to finish it all Friday. Like, I started it at 3 o'clock. I started it that morning, 3 a.m. And I recorded 6 episodes, edited 2, all in Friday. I took Friday off from work. So I recorded 6 episodes, edited 2 of them, and then recorded the rest on Saturday. I was fucking exhausted Friday. Like, once it was all said and done, I was like, I'm so tired. I passed out after. It was like 9 o'clock, because I lay in bed about 9:30, but don't actually fall asleep until like 10:30. No, I like laid in bed. Anna was taking a bath, and then I told her, I'm like, I'm about to fall asleep, just to let you know. And I'm a fast falling asleeper. I don't know, I fall asleep super fast. But that, I was just out. As soon as I hit the bed, I was out. The ending was good. It was good. It wasn't bad at all. I didn't love it. I don't know how to say this without giving away too many spoilers with some people who haven't seen it yet. That is unless you guys want me to talk about it. Depends on who wants me to talk about it and who doesn't. Like the specifics of it. This salmon is just okay. It's alright. It's not bad. I'm glad I put sriracha on it though. Makes it better. I thought she was gonna be Elaine Belloc, Michael's daughter, but this was better. When she was first arrived, I was like, well, for sure. I was like, hands down, she's Lucifer's daughter. I said, or for some reason, if she's not Lucifer's daughter, then she's Michael's. But she was Lucifer's. Season 6 was extra, so we got more personal stuff. I know, and I get it. I totally get the whole premise of like a final season is to like wrap everything up and all that. But you can't tell me some of the final seasons of some of the biggest shows were not like fucking crazy. I didn't watch Breaking Bad, and I can tell you that final season was freaking crazy. From like all the people that I know who did watch it. And then Dexter. Fucking Dexter was crazy. I can't wait until that comes out again. But I do also, I get it though. I get it. And it wasn't bad at all. It was good. I want some crazy ass shit to happen. And season 6 had like none of it. And I don't know if it's because they like threw so much crazy shit into season 5. And like, so I was expecting it to be better than season 5 and it just wasn't. Season 2 is by far the best, in my opinion. Season 2 is good, too. The only thing I keep wondering is how did Trixie handle having a half-angel sister? I wanted to know more about that. That's what I wanted to know more about. Because, like, Rory talked about it sometimes. Of, like, having Trixie as an older sister. But she... Obviously, Trixie didn't know. But... I don't know. Like, I would like to have known more about that. I would have liked more flashbacks. Actually, flashbacks, period. They kind of had a flashback of, like... Oh, I don't know if I should say this because it's almost like a spoiler. They had, like, one flashback, but it wasn't really even a flashback. And you might know what I'm talking about, because I'm not trying to give away stuff. Rory kind of reminded me of you. I saw some similarities between Rory and myself. Well, first of all, she is really pretty. Like, she's the type of girl that I would go for. Totally my type. Totally my type. Actually, I kind of have a type, but I don't really have a type. But if I did have a type, Rory would be my type. Because Rory is not, like, there's some similarities between us, but there's not, like, oh my god, she's my exact person. Did you like how Ella found out? Yes, during this whole time of Lucifer, when more and more people were discovering it, like, discovering the truth, I'm like, who's gonna tell Ella? Because now everybody knows at this point, and Ella has to know, like, someone has to tell her. But yeah, that was pretty crazy. I almost wanted to cry during it because she was like, I was so heartbroken because none of you told me. And then I was like, oh, man. I wanted to cry. I mean, I didn't, but I wanted to. At that point, the only crazy thing they could have pulled was Elaine killing Lucifer and becoming God. Just like in the comics. Other than that, they already had a crazy finale in season 5. Yeah, I'm surprised we didn't see Michael at all. I mean, it makes sense. And I think if they would have thrown him in there, it wouldn't have not have made sense. Or it would have not made sense. I said have in there like twice. They showed his back. Like, they showed him a little bit, and they showed him a 2-second thing in, like, hell, but that was it. I want to know how she came to the conclusion that Lucifer was the actual devil, because we didn't see anything towards that. Oh, how Ella figured it out? Is that what you mean? How she figured out that he was the actual devil? If you're talking about Ella, it's probably just a combination of a whole bunch of little things. May have already heard this take, but in my opinion, everyone got the best ending possible for Lucifer and Chloe. What is 60 years compared to eternity? True, and that's the way I was thinking about it too. So, like, they're gonna end up spending more than the rest of their lives together because, you know, obviously, after death, you know. So I was thinking about that too. So it just kind of it really just sucks how he wasn't able to be there. Like, that's what I was just kind of bummed about. I keep dropping this piece of salmon. Rory's actress Brianna now played in both DC and Marvel comics. I know. I loved her in, what was it, Deadpool? What was she in? That was her in Deadpool, right? With Rory's wings, how did Trixie not know that Rory was an angel? I don't think Rory ever showed her wings. That's what I thought. I thought she was in Deadpool. I was like, I mean, from what I've seen, anyway. Deadpool's one of the superhero movies that I actually liked to watch. Yeah, as far as I'm aware of, Rory didn't show Trixie her wings. That was kind of the whole point, is Trixie doesn't know. In my reaction, I was like, Trixie doesn't know. And I'm like, well, she's not supposed to know, but she probably does. Also, Joe Henderson and Ildi Modrovic said that Chloe is bisexual. Thought it was strange, but I love it. Well, her and Maze kissed in season 5. I kind of had a feeling. I don't think Chloe ever said she was. Did Chloe ever say she was bisexual? I thought she did, but maybe she didn't. But even if she didn't, like, come on. Lucifer's bisexual. I mean, you know Lucifer's bisexual even before you knew he was bisexual. Negasonic Teenage Warhead? Mm-hmm. Yeah, but it's what Rory wanted, so it's not like it was for nothing. I know. And I get, so that's, I'm like, I get the whole thing, but it still sucks. Like, I know that Rory wanted it that way, but it sucks because if you think about, like, whenever she went back into time and she gave him such shit for abandoning them when she's the one who told him to do so. She doesn't know. Who doesn't know? Trixie? Well, no, I know. That's what I was like, she doesn't know. But she probably knows. You know, because it's played off like she's not supposed to know. But knowing Trixie and how smart she is, she probably knows. Did you like the finale? I think you just forgot the E. Did I like the finale? Yes and no. The only thing that I didn't really like about it, which I get, was the whole like abandonment thing. It just really sucked. Makes for a good show though. The season finale is so good. Linda really inspired him. Yeah, I pointed it out too. I was like, his office is like a replica of Linda's, because she helped him out so much. Thoughts on May's and Eve's wedding? Oh, I fucking loved it. I loved it. I said in my reaction, which is the one I edited before I got on here, there's a sign that whenever the first shot to the wedding, there's a sign that pulled up that said, "Pick a seat, not a side. Either way, it's for a bride." And we had the exact same sign at our wedding, which I get it, because it's a very stereotypical lesbian wedding sign to have, but I just really loved seeing that sign right there. It took me a minute to get it, because I was staring right at it, and then I'm like, why does that look familiar? And I actually, because I did it, I made the sign. And it was with a chalk pin and like these little black, I don't even know. It was just like a little black hanging thing. It wasn't a chalkboard or anything, but it was so cute. I was like, oh my God, that's from my wedding. But yeah, they were beautiful. Maze's black dress, loved it. Eve's like gorgeous as always. I loved episode 7. That one was a good one. Episode 6 was good, but it's probably going to be the least watched or least liked video of all of them, I feel like, because it was one of the slowest ones, if not the slowest one. Season finale was missing one thing and one thing only: candy. I love candy. Well, I'm trying to think of where they could have put her. I don't know. Maybe if they had some, I don't know. I don't know how they would have incorporated her. At least Chloe and Lucifer's ending was better than Sabrina and Nick's and Chilling Adventures of Sabrina. I didn't even finish that. I didn't even finish it. Chilling Adventures of Sabrina. I wanted to, and then I just didn't. Yeah, she knows afterwards. Afterwards what? Who? Trixie? I feel like Lucifer has always been a bittersweet show, so it makes sense for it to end that way. Yeah. I mean, if it happened, if there was a different ending, like, I feel like that show could have had multiple endings, like, but I think that one was probably the best one that they could have done. It just sucked that whole abandonment thing. I loved Maze saying, "I love you so fucking much." Perfection. I love it because she couldn't talk. She was so emotional that she couldn't talk. And the only thing she could get out was just like, "I just love you so fucking much." And I was like, oh, I love it. Love it. She was so emotional that she couldn't talk. And I was like, yep, this is perfect. Adam was a total prick. Oh yeah, he was. Whenever like he arrived, I was like, oh, this asshole. And I should have, you know what I should have done in episode 7 is I should have put a counter on how many times I said gross or nasty, because every time he said something, I was like, gross, nasty, ew, disgusting. And like, because he was like a total tool. And he was talking about like, we could bring you can learn some new things that we could bring to the bedroom, and we can have a threesome, talking about like with Maze. And then just, I swear to God, every word that he said, I ended up following it up with gross, disgusting, nasty, like something. Oh, I love the part of Dan and Charlotte at the end. Yeah. That was I was like, oh man. Loved it. It was just funny because like once Dan went to heaven, like no one knew he went to heaven until like way later. Until like Lucifer, until the guy said that Dan saw the light, and then Lucifer's like, oh, he finally made it to heaven. And we're like, yeah. Poor Dan. I totally saw his guilt thing coming though. Totally saw it coming. I think it was very predictable. I'm glad we didn't end the show with happily ever after Dexter moment. As much as I love Dexter, it's about Lucifer. I think the ending was great. It was good. It was good. I always thought to, you know, I just have mixed feelings about it. But it was still good. It was a good ending. Because if it ended sour like season 4, then everyone would hate it. So this was the middle of the road ending. Yeah, I get it. Hold on, sorry. In an interview, Joe and LD said that Lucifer did visit occasionally, he got to hold his baby and all that, and that made me feel so much better after watching the finale. I was secretly hoping that they were going to end up showing scenes of him visiting, like him seeing them at least. Like, you're right, like him holding the baby, or I thought in the finale when she was on her deathbed that he was gonna come up after she had left, after she like went back when she went to the future, right? Or I mean to the past. When she time traveled, I thought he was gonna pop up and then like say his goodbyes or like do whatever, and then whenever she came back, like he would just not be there. I'm assuming that that's maybe what could have happened, potentially. Because why not? And it's Lucifer, so. I also think that this was the best ending for the story. Take the season apart from the finale, and it could have been... Wait, I think I read that wrong. I also think this was the best ending for this story. Take the season apart from the finale, and it couldn't have been handled better. I agree. It was just a very low-key ending. And maybe that's why they did that on purpose, because season 5 was so crazy that maybe they were like, well, we'll just give it a low-key kind of ending. And maybe that's why. In my opinion, what I like to see in shows is just some crazy ass shit happening. So that's where I was like, when I was watching it, I'm surprised at my reactions when I go and edit them, that it's actually as long as it has been, and they're actually longer episodes in season 5, which doesn't really make sense, because I'm saying that season 5 had more of my, like, interaction or whatever, but apparently that's not true. Either that or I just edited it a little bit I've gotten better at editing and like cutting out bits and pieces and keeping some other pieces in there longer. So that's maybe what it could have been. But what did you think about seeing the Silver City? We didn't really see much of it in season 6. We saw a little bit in, well, we saw Heaven in season 5, but, I just felt like it just wasn't all that. I don't know. Like, I thought that we were going to get more of the Silver City in season 6, and we didn't. The only part that we got was the finale. It was cool, though, I guess. It was so cool. Like, in a show, it was cool. But I don't know. Like, I'm just... it was just alright. Because season 5 could have been the series finale, would you want it to be, or do you think season 6 was a good way to end? All in all, I think that season 6 was a good ending for this series completely. I think if it would have ended on season 5, it would have felt like there was so many unanswered things, and then I would have probably just gotten upset. I'm not upset with how Lucifer ended. Actually, because it was so low-key, I'm not upset about anything because they wrapped everything up really good. So I prefer to have season 6 be the actual ending. Just if I were to say which season was my favorite, it would be season 5. Also, I forgot, I'm surprised to not see Godwin last time. That could have been cool. It could have been, but the fact that he was only in season 5 doesn't really make sense for him to come back in season 6. Like, we pretty much got at least the major characters still in season 6. Oh, I almost was gonna cry whenever Maze and Lucifer said their goodbyes. I was like, oh no, because Maze like knew. She knew it was the final goodbye, or at least like the goodbye for a long time, not the final goodbye, because they're both immortal. But, well, is Maze even immortal anymore at this point? No, she's still immortal. I was thinking because of the ring. But yeah, so we definitely need a spinoff with the kids, especially Rory. Oh yeah, that would be cool. I fucking love her wings. Can we say that? I just freaking loved him. We don't need a Loki kind of ending. Oh, I haven't seen Loki, so I wouldn't know. The Silver City was a bit of a letdown. Yeah, I think that's just kind of where I was at, because we only got like a few seconds of the Silver City, and it wasn't like hot shit or anything. And like with Amenadiel sitting on the throne, it was just kind of lame. I don't know. Sorry, I don't like talking with my mouth full. Okay. My biggest fear about the end of a show is never seeing the cast together again, so hopefully we see more of Tom and Lauren at least. I hope so. He was the perfect Lucifer. It was funny because I remember in the finale we saw like flashbacks of like Lucifer from season 1, and I'm like, oh my god, I forgot how much he changed. Like from like Tom actually changed. He like got bulkier for the role, and like I just thought it was funny because he just like you forget, I think, at least I did, what he looked like in the beginning of the seasons, because like you notice him change, and so you just kind of like go with it and forget what he looked like. So when they did flashbacks, I was like, I remember when Chloe said something, because he said whenever they time travel, or they didn't time travel, but whenever they went into that guy's hell, and they were stuck in the 90s, and he's like talking about, he's like, oh my God, look at that guy liner. And so she's like, yeah, like, you know, because he wears guy liner, or at least he did a lot. At least we get friends around still. What do you mean, for like Chloe? It just sucks because like Lucifer wasn't able to be a part of any of that. Not just like Rory's life or Chloe's or Trixie's, like nobody's. I mean, Amenadiel's, yeah, but nobody else's. I'm kind of done with the salmon. It wasn't that good. I like the rice. The writers have said the ending would have been the same. Season 6 just allowed them to explore a facet of Lucifer that hadn't been explored before. I don't know. I don't know how to respond to your thing, because I get it, but I said the same. I've been saying the same thing for the past like 32 minutes now. So you don't like this season? I like it. I just think season 5 was better, at least for what I like to watch in a show. Season 6, like, almost was just like a show that I just watch on my own time instead of reacting to it. Like, that's what I felt like it was. It was like me just kind of, because it was hard. I'm not ever gonna forcibly react to things. I'm not gonna like force me to have like, I'm not gonna force myself to cry. I'm not gonna force myself to laugh. I'm not gonna force myself to get upset about something. If I'm actually upset about it, or if I'm actually, you know, sad about something or happy, or if I think something's hilarious, you know, I'm going to laugh, but I'm not ever going to force any of my reactions. So when I was watching it, it just seemed like, because I didn't feel like I was having a whole lot of emotion to it. Unlike season 5, because I felt like just so many emotions were happening for season 5 out of me. It just felt like I was just watching a show not being recorded and just watching it on my own. That's just what I got. I got the same type of feeling for that. But it was a good season. It was a good season. Very good. It was a very good season. I just like season 5 better. Yes, Maze is immortal. Eve is not. Yeah, and that's another thing that's gonna suck too. The reason for Silver City, oh my God. The reason for Silver City, that's hard to say. The reason for Silver City, because Lucifer hated heaven. That's probably why we got much more of hell. Yeah, and in my opinion, that's what I would like to see, is more of hell instead of more of heaven anyway. Which looked amazing. I love the concept of hell here rather than a fiery pit. I mean, and listen, I'm not a super religious person by any means. I'm not one of those who absolutely says, like, yes, there's a heaven, no, there's not a hell, or, like, there's both, there's neither. It's what I think. I don't necessarily believe that there's a heaven or a hell. What I have to believe is that there's going to be an afterlife, because what's the point of, I can't say like what's the point of living without knowing what there would be afterwards, but just kind of how I have to feel like life is just like, you're not just going to end up in the ground and like worm food. I have to believe that there's an afterlife. I just don't know if, like, I know I'm not going to go to the same place as a murderer, rapist, or like whatever, right? But I don't know if there's going to be anything like, you know, super good or super bad, or like, I don't know. So it's just kind of like, I don't know what, like, if there was a hell, I don't know what version of hell I would believe, whether it's a fiery pit or the hell that we saw in Lucifer. I don't know. I like this version of hell, though, that we saw in Lucifer. It makes more sense, actually. Like, the concept of hell, that it would be more like this versus just a fiery pit. I'm a little upset they undid so much from the previous season. What do you mean? I mean, the ending is an offshoot of season 4's ending, too. A little bit. It was a little similar. We just didn't get a whole lot of... Well, we didn't get, like, the blubbering crying from Chloe, necessarily. With... Or was that season 5? Shit, all these shows are running together. No, that wasn't season 5. That was season 4. It was similar, though. It was similar. No, Friends cast, replying to that cast thing, another person said, oh, I have no idea what you're talking about then. Ildy has said that Lucifer would sneak up as long as Rory didn't see him, so that's what I am comforting myself with. I think that Lucifer is very smart, so I think he figured out a way to probably see them without them figuring it out, or at least without Rory figuring it out. Also, I'm guessing Trixie gets let in on the no. She's gonna wonder why her younger sister stopped aging. She has to. I'm assuming that maybe they just waited till she was a little bit older before they told her. Because she's probably trying to figure out why Lucifer left, right? Because she loved Lucifer too, so she's probably like, what the hell? He wouldn't abandon us. My mom was crying her eyes out towards the end. The thing that really makes, I think one of the only things that really made me cry, was Trixie. Anytime, because she, I don't know her name in real life, the girl who plays Trixie in real life, such an amazing actress already at her age. And season 5 had me, that Trixie, and then in this season when she was like, I just miss my dad, and I'm like, oh God, here we go again, like I can't, like it made me like super teary-eyed, and yeah, Trixie could always make me cry. I think they did the best they can with all the COVID restrictions limiting to a more intimate season. Yeah, I forget that, not that I forget COVID's happening, but I forget that these seasons are being, not recorded, what's the word I'm looking for? I mean, created is one, but that's not the one I'm talking about. Filmed. These seasons are being filmed, during COVID. And I forget that they're being filmed during COVID. So sometimes when stuff happens and I'm like, why did they do that? And then I'm like, oh yeah, COVID. COVID technically happened. I mean, it's still happening. COVID's still happening, but it was like a really, really big thing during the time it was being filmed. I fucking hate this chair. After, is that Game of Thrones? Is that the one you're talking? After Game of Thrones, a finale and the absolute trash of a finale for the man in the high castle. Amazing show till the last season. This is a great ending, like I've said previously. I think it's a great ending. Well, if you're gonna compare it to Game of Thrones was horrible. I don't care who you are. If you are a big Game of Thrones nerd, if you are a big Game of Thrones fan, every single person that I know that was a big Game of Thrones fan, myself included, hated the finale. Hated it. I don't know a Game of Thrones fan that liked the finale. I don't know a single one. I have not met a single person who was a fan of Game of Thrones like the finale. And also, Dexter had a terrible finale. I mean, it was good up until the whole, like, the last scene, because that made no fucking sense. But we're about to get more of that anyway. And I didn't see the man in the heist castle, so I can't compare it to that. I mean, in season 5, Chloe leaves the LAPD, Lucifer decides to become God, and Amenadiel decides to not be God. Then in season 6, Chloe's back at the LAPD, Amenadiel wants to be God, and Lucifer is back to hell. Okay, I see what you're saying there. I was thinking more along the lines of, like, Dan's death and Maze and Eve, and, like, that's the kind of stuff I was thinking about, so, yeah, you're right. And I was thinking about that too whenever Amenadiel was like, okay, I'll be God. Like, really? What? Like, the whole season 5, you were like, I don't want to be God. And now you're going to be God? I think Trixie would have figured out things when she sees the bladed wings. Yeah. I think that if she didn't figure it out on her own like Ella did, then they would have told her. I think that they probably ended up telling her once Lucifer left. I think they probably ended up telling her after the fact. Because it's kind of hard to explain why Lucifer left. Because she knows Lucifer. She knows that he wouldn't have just up and abandoned them. Maybe Rory ended up telling Trixie or showing her wings or something. Showing her wings or something. Okay. I don't know, but I would have loved to have seen it. I would have loved for us to see Trixie find out the truth. Just like it was really good for us to watch Ella as she, like, told everyone off. Zero Shadow, well, that's because none of them really wanted those things to begin with, so everything you saw in season 6 was the obvious direction. I can't tell if it's like a, I don't know, I think it's a fuzz. Though again, according to the writers, Trixie actually knows that Lucifer is the devil from the start. Well, that's what I'm saying. She's not supposed to know, but she probably knows. I only like Sansa's fate. That's it. I would say watch Man in the High Castle, but I'm not sure what you would think of the finale. Yeah, and I think mainly, I mean, the whole finale of Game of Thrones just sucked major. I agree with you. I do like Sansa's fate. But the whole finale, like the whole Jon Snow and Daenerys situation of it all really made me so mad. The whole Daenerys thing, like, you just got me started now. Like ooh, that made me so mad. I can understand if throughout all of the seasons of Game of Thrones, we got little bits and pieces of Daenerys slowly going crazy or going mad or like whatever you want to call it, right? I can see if they put in little tiny bits and pieces throughout the whole season that she could maybe go mad. No, the whole fucking season of Game of Thrones, all of what she stood for, literally at the last minute, she did everything the opposite of what she stood for. Makes no fucking sense. Makes no sense why she did what she did. And then The fact that, well, should I be saying this? Because this might be spoilers for you guys. I mean, you guys know the finale, but just, makes me so mad. Makes me so mad. That whole situation. I was so mad. I remember watching it because like we watched it with my parents and Anna. Like we all watched it. Like that's what we did every Sunday night is we went and we like watched Game of Thrones at my parents' house. Like it was our thing. And I think we were all sitting in there. We were like, what the fuck is happening right now? Like, cause it's so, none of us, like you don't see it coming because it doesn't make any fucking sense. Anyway, I know we're talking about Lucifer. Sorry. You got me all started on Game of Thrones. I just finished the finale. Oh, did you? Lucifer had so many storylines that needed to be tied off. They basically used the 6th season to do it with the addition of Rory as a catalyst. Yeah, I know. There are such few shows that fit in this fantasy and sci-fi genre that ended well. The only one I could think of that didn't make me angry was Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., though they did do a cop-out in that too. I watched the first 2 seasons of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. and then didn't watch the rest of it. Honestly, I'm one of the only people who didn't want Daenerys to be the queen. I hated her character and the constant bitching about how she deserved the throne, which technically she didn't. I liked her character. It wasn't that I liked her character. I don't think she was meant to be queen. If she did end up becoming queen, like I get it. I'm just, now I'm so mad. I'm like rethinking Game of Thrones right now. I'm just so mad. I'm so angry. Because Daenerys, I love Daenerys. I don't know if she was my favorite character, but she was really close. I really liked her character. And the fact that they did her dirty like that, I'm so angry. I'm almost as angry as when they killed off Lexa from the 100. I'm just so mad. I'm so mad. I'm still mad. So many years later, fucking Game of Thrones, man. Winona Earp was a meh ending too. Not terrible, but could have been better. Oh, I agree. I think Winona Earp ended cutely. It ended very cute. And that's not really it's funny because I was trying to get one of my friends into Winona Earp. And I was watching the first episode with them and I'm like, oh man, this is so dark. This is way darker than I ever remembered it being. It was dark. Have you guys ever, did you watch all the way through the first season and then, watch the first episode again? That whole, because it, the whole aspect of the show changed. It went in, an entirely different direction after, was it season 1? Even season, the first season was so, I think it was. The first season was so, dark. Dark. And then after season 1, they just kind of transitioned it into more of less dark, more kind of, I wouldn't say, I think that it's because they threw so much romance into season 2. So it went into more romantic and sci-fi fantasy stuff versus the super dark shit that was in season 1. I don't know. That was crazy. I forgot. It's funny. That's why I like rewatching shows, some of my favorite shows, because then it makes you put a different mindset and you're like, oh shit, yeah. Something else that bugged me. If Lucifer's in hell, how did Rory not figure it out? Kind of obvious first place to look. She never camped in front of the throne, never asked who ran hell. I know there's a lot of holes there. There is. So, because I even thought the same thing too, because when she was first introduced, she was sitting on the throne. So obviously she knew where he was at, and she never, I get it because she didn't confront him until she went back in the past, but it's just I don't know. I get you though. I'm with you on that one. She reportedly threw a tantrum on Earth, so she never threw one in hell just to see who would come running. She reportedly threw a tantrum on Earth, So she never threw one. Oh, are you talking about her tantrum where she got pushed back into the past? I think Lucifer ended well. The season was properly written. Oh yeah, it's a amazingly written, amazingly done show. Everything about Lucifer is amazing, and I especially love the fact that they pulled it out. Like, I'm glad that Fox dropped it so that Netflix can pick it up, because, and I think all along Lucifer should have been on Netflix or some type of other streaming service that could allow that show to really expand their wings, so to speak, you know, because being on Fox, it can't really do certain things. It can't really say too many cuss words or certain cuss words, and it can't show nudity. It can't do this and it can't do that. But I'm like, Lucifer, of all shows, should be able to do that. They should be able to openly do that. So I'm kind of glad that Fox dropped it so that Netflix could pick it up, and Netflix did a good job with it. Game of Thrones had the worst final season in all shows, even worse than Dexter's previous final season. I know. Well, both season finales were kind of like, you know, but Dexter's its finale in general was good. It just, the last scene of the final episode was shit. It just made no fucking sense. Made no fucking sense at all. No fucking sense. Game of Thrones, like, mad. I'm just mad. Anyway, Sansa and Tyrion were my fave. I think my parents' favorite character was Tyrion. I think both of them, both my mom and my dad, their favorite character was Tyrion. Sansa was kind of a bitch until, like, what was it? Like, until, like, a mid to later season. She was just a fucking bitch. So I think that's why she wasn't really one of my favorite characters until later on. She really, like, grew into herself, though. And not just physically, because, like, holy shit, because she's super tall. She started that show when she was really young, and then she went through puberty with the freaking show, so she ended up, like, coming into her own. But she was good. I don't know who my favorite... I didn't really like Jon Snow. He just kind of got on my nerves. Who was my favorite character? I like Tyrion, but I don't think that he was probably my favorite character. I like Cersei. I really like Cersei because she's just a fucking, like, she's a bitch, but she's hot, and, like, I don't know. But it could be because I have a huge crush on Lena Headey. Like, Lena Headey was one of the first major crushes on a female that I ever had. Other than Sindel in Mortal Kombat. Sindel in Mortal Kombat was, like, my very, very first one. But then, like, Lena Headey, like, as a real character, like, as a, like, an actual person versus Sindel, Lena Headey, I was like, oh. In the movie 300, it had me. I was like, oh, Lena Headey, yes. So I really liked Cersei, but that's probably because of Lena Headey more so than the actual character of Cersei. Anyway, where did we drop off at? I think I missed a couple. Dexter, Time for Redemption, Bring Me Darkness. I hope it does stick with the darkness. I hope it sticks with the same type of vibe that the original show was. Replying to Zero's Shadow. Not mad with where Game of Thrones ended. The problem is they did not earn it. The rest of the show earned everything they did. It just made my frustration with it is it made no fucking sense why they did it. It made no sense. None whatsoever. Made no sense. And I don't think anyone could convince me. I could be wrong, but I don't think anyone could convince me otherwise. It just makes no fucking sense to me. Because I was a huge Game of Thrones fan. And we never, ever saw, or at least I didn't, saw that part coming. And I'm like, what the fuck? It'd be one thing if they left little Easter eggs of like little things to lead up to her fate. But they didn't. It made no fucking sense the way that they did that. Anywho. Yeah, they got a lot more freedom when they went to Netflix. Oh yeah, they did for sure. Especially you could tell in season 5. Season 5 was like, damn. Like you could tell. Who was your favorite character overall on Lucifer? Probably Maze. It would either have to be Maze or Linda. And those are two completely opposite characters. I think Maze is an overall, like, I think she's a lot of people's favorite characters. So if I were to have to choose a character that's not this stereotypical favorite character, it would have to be Linda. Because she's funny. Linda's, like, funny but smart and, you know, just like a dash of sassy in there. But yeah, those are probably my two favorite characters. But Mace is, like, badass and just fucking awesome. Well, let's see what Netflix does with Sandman's show, which is Lucifer, which is what Lucifer is based off of. Yeah, I want to watch that for sure. The appropriate ending was John and Danny married and rolling out babies and baby dragons living happily ever after. I hate myself and knew they would kill Danny because this is what George R.R. Martin does. I know, I get it because like I know he kills off like, you can't fall in love with a character because he kills off every fucking character. But it just doesn't make sense for them to have killed off this character. It doesn't. And to use the other character to do so makes no fucking sense whatsoever. Dexter had holes in it and it didn't make sense to kill Deb and just all kinds of other nonsense. It just seemed they were in a rush to end the show. I think so too. I was really shocked that Deb ended up dying. It didn't really make sense to why they did that. Hey, don't hate on my Sansa. She was supposed to be like 14 in the beginning. She was young. Was she even that old? It seems like she may have been even younger than that. I mean, maybe she was 14. But I even think she was younger than that. But I don't know. Maybe not. I don't know. I don't know what age they were when they started Game of Thrones. But, it was just, you can't tell me that Sansa wasn't a bitch in, like, the first, like, 2 or 3 seasons. You cannot tell me she wasn't. Once some shit kind of happened to her, she, like, decided to, maybe, you know, karma, hello. Not saying that she deserved any of what she got, because it was terrible what happened to her, but, it made her, I think, appreciate more things, and to like, that's what formed her character. That's what like formed her, was all the shit that happened to her. For Rory being introduced in the final season, I really like her. She's literally the spitting image of Lucifer. Oh yeah, I like, once we saw her, like, I'm like I, even without knowing she was Lucifer's daughter, like, you know she's Lucifer's daughter. Because she looks just like her, and she looks just like him, acts like him, talks like him. Like, it's the girl version of Lucifer is this character. I love the character of Rory. I love it because she is the girl version of Lucifer. I couldn't stand Jon Snow and Kit's acting. I don't think that like I said, he wasn't one of my favorites. Cersei was great because Lena was amazing and Dread as Mama. Have not seen that. I have seen Lena Headey in quite a few things because of my crush, but I have not seen that one. I've seen, of course, I saw 300. 300, I think, was the first movie I'd ever seen her in. I'm quite sure because, like, I just fell for her right then and there. And then, saw her in Imagine Me and You, of course. Saw her... I really, really liked her playing... oh my gosh, my voice is like going out. I really liked her playing Sarah Connor. I really liked it. I freaking loved this show. That show that they had for the Terminator. What was it called? Was it called The Terminator? The show? I can't remember if it was... No, it was called Sarah Connor Chronicles or something like that, wasn't it? Maybe not. Maybe I'm just making shit up. But that show was really good, and then they just, like, didn't have it anymore. And I'm like, son of a bitch! It got canceled. Damn it. I actually liked that this season was more mellow and didn't have the same drama of 5B. I actually kind of hated the drama and back and forth of 5B. 5B was just really good. It was just really entertaining and really good to react to. Season 6 was like I said, I would never force myself to do or say things, but like a lot of it I just noticed. I got lost in this show. And so a lot of times when I get lost in this show, it's kind of hard for me. Sometimes shows are naturally, like, especially, I don't know if you guys have seen my Generation episodes that I've reacted to so far. That show, I'm like, oh, no, she didn't. What the fuck just happened? Like I'm constantly talking during that show. But sometimes when I get lost in a show, I get so entranced that I just can't say or do anything. But other shows, I get so entranced that I'm like, what the fuck is happening? So it's just kind of, I got a different feel from season 6 than I did from season 5, which I just like this. I liked more so the feeling I got from season 5 than I did from season 6. So Sindel was one of your favorite characters. I imagine you hate what the recent MK game did to her then. I did. But I still love her. I was like, oh my God. I was like, Sindel is back. I loved it. She's so hot too. I think I even posted on Twitter. I posted a photo of Sindel and I'm like, you can't tell me you didn't have a crush on this woman. She was like fucking thousands of years old or whatever, like some shit like that. Oh, so, perfect. I'm surprised my wife does not get jealous of me in my, what is it? The, imaginary characters. Nah, she knows what she got. Read my reply to Shadow about why Rory didn't go to hell to look for Lucifer. Hold on. Which one? The reason why Rory didn't go to hell was because she was under the impression that her mom would have told her if Lucifer went there. It's not that complicated, honestly. The reason why Rory didn't go to hell was because she was under the impression that her mom would have told her if Lucifer went there. I'm just trying to picture it. Hold on. She was under the impression that her mom would have told her if Lucifer went there. I don't know. I don't know how to reply to that. Cause I can't picture it, so that's how I'm like, what? Hold on, now I have to catch back up from where I was at. So what are you saying? Are you saying that because Chloe didn't tell her that that's why she didn't go running. I think I'm just a little confused. That's why I can't picture it. Okay, I'll read her reply here. Or their reply. Sorry. But it would suggest she never went looking by herself. She didn't look for the devil in hell. What answer is given if she asks who runs hell or who the demons take orders from? I don't know, but I think because I think people would have said, like, oh, the devil, you know, Lucifer, blah, blah, blah. And, like, she would have picked, I think she would have, even if they didn't outwardly tell her that Lucifer was the devil and, like, the devil was her father, like, outright, then, like, she would have picked it up. Talder lives. I know. I love Talder. But I also love, I'm starting to love, after that finale, I'm starting to love Nikta. Also. I don't know if I ship Nikta and Tally together. Because I think I ship Talder so much that I can't. I even said in that same episode too. I'm like, I wouldn't hate a Nikta and Tally ship, but because Alder is alive, I'm still wholeheartedly shipping Talder. But if for some reason they don't make that a thing, then yeah, Nikta, because I kind of really like Nikta now. But I know, I want a Talder so bad. I really want that to happen. Really, really bad. Yeah, because she was a typical princess. Of course she was a bitch. She was a slow learner, but she learns. Sansa, yeah. She was a typical princess. That's funny. Yeah, that's what you think when you think of Sansa, is you do think, like, oh, she's just a princess and, like, doesn't know anything, and, like, yeah. They absolutely nailed casting for Brianna Hildebrand. I don't know if that's how you said her last name, but... And then she opened her voice and sang, and it was the voice of an actual angel. Oh, I know, I didn't know she could sing either. I didn't know she could sing, and it was, I was like, oh, damn, and their duet was really good. It was really good. Watch Dredd. A real legend is in it. Carl Urban. I don't know who that is. Is that a show or a movie? Sarah Connor Chronicles. Amazingly didn't watch it, and I love Terminator. You didn't watch it and you love the Terminator? You are one of the reasons why I got canceled then. I'm just kidding, but also I'm not kidding. I think it's because it didn't get a whole lot of, what's the word I'm thinking of? It's so hard for me to think and stream at the same time sometimes. It didn't get that much, what's the word I'm thinking of? I don't know. It didn't get that much attention. It didn't get that much publicity. I think that's the word I'm thinking of. It didn't get that much, like, publicity, I think. It didn't, because when it first came out, I don't know how because it came out when I was, like, a teenager. So I was allowed to watch it because I was, like, a teenager, and it wasn't that raunchy. And so my mom was like, yeah, you can watch it, whatever. But... yeah, I'm pretty sure it was called Sarah Connor Chronicles. I was gonna say, I don't think it was called The Terminator, but it was good. And Lena Headey plays Sarah Connor. Oh, so good. It was good. I kind of want to rewatch it, but... Have you watched Altered Carbon? It's pretty futuristic, deep storyline, but very cool. No, I haven't. I must applaud the Lucifer writers. Evil twin taking over your life, then daughter from the future. These ideas should fail, but they were the best parts of their respective seasons. I think it's just because the writing's amazing, the acting's amazing. Like, every bit and piece of Lucifer is so good. I think if they would have had one weak link in that whole situation, it wouldn't have been as good as it was. Chloe didn't want Rory to find out, so she definitely made sure that Rory didn't go to hell to search for him. Plus, most likely, Rory didn't search for Lucifer probably until Chloe was on her deathbed. Okay, so that makes more sense of like what you were saying earlier. Yeah, the only thing is like, yeah, Chloe probably didn't allow her to. But honestly, if she knew, if she knew, then like what would stop her? I mean, she has wings, so what would stop her from going to look for Lucifer anyway? If it were me, so I have daddy issues. So this is, I don't know. So I have a very similar story to kind of, obviously my dad was not Lucifer, but, like when I was a baby and all that, like my dad, like just, you know, gone. So I know who my father is. He's just, yeah. So I never really wanted to go and like find him. I mean, I think it's probably because I knew who he was, which is why I didn't want to. I mean, I tried to have a relationship with him, and it just never really happened. And because it takes two to like have a relationship, it takes, you know, the both of you to have a relationship with that person. And for me, that didn't happen. So that's why I was like trying to compare myself to this situation. Like if I were Rory, what would I do? If I didn't know who my dad was, but I knew where he could be, I would probably go and find him. But that's just me. So, I don't know. Chloe and Lucifer promised her that Lucifer wouldn't be there to see her grow up. So I'm certain Chloe made sure Rory didn't go searching, and Rory didn't until she was basically dying. I know, and in theory, like, so, or in actuality, I should say, she didn't end up going to find him, but in theory, like, wouldn't you think that you would at some point before her deathbed? I know that Chloe's like, but she's an adult. She ends up being an adult, and she has wings. She can go places that her mom can't. Like, so just in theory, it doesn't really make sense. I know in actuality she didn't, because that's the whole point of what happened in the whole season 6, is because she didn't. But in theory, it doesn't really make sense, or unless we know the specifics, and we don't know the necessary specifics unless maybe we got a spinoff, because hello, that would be awesome, of like her growing up. And like maybe we should get that. Maybe we should get a spinoff and like figure out the specifics of like what was actually going on, because it just, you know, I don't know. And just for me, in theory, it makes it seem like it wouldn't really happen like that. Dread Carl Urban is the guy that plays Billy Butcher in The Boys. Oh, Bones McCoy in Star Trek, the remake, etc., etc. Gotcha. I know who he is then. What Carl Urban is one of the greatest actors of the current generation. Dread is a movie. I always say that Carl Urban should be in every comic book movie. He was in Thor 3, but they gave an amazing actor. I'm not sure what you're trying to say there. I know who he is now that you said that he plays the, Billy Butcher in The Boys. A terrible character and story? Who? Carl Urban in Dread or the Thor movie? Also, I remember Rory growing up Also, remember, Rory grew up without knowing anything about Lucifer from the conversations we heard. So, of course, she didn't care to look for someone who didn't know anything about. But, yeah, I know. Like, it's just in theory, it doesn't make sense, you know? I don't know. Well, at least coming from someone that dealt with a similar type of situation, not quite obviously, of course, the same situation, and even like if I'm just saying, like, even, I mean, I can't compare. I don't know. Like, Anna's adopted and doesn't know her parents, but yet she doesn't really want to go and find them. So I don't know. I think maybe it just depends on, because they gave her up, and so she doesn't really want to go and find them. But I don't know. So I think it just depends on who you are. But if it were me and I was in that situation, I'm gonna be like, sorry, Mom, I'm an adult now, I'm gonna go find my dad, you know? So in theory, it doesn't really make sense. But even if I was mad, I think that's what would drive me to want to go and find him. Like, I would be so mad that I'd be like, what the fuck? I don't necessarily agree with her, but Rory clearly inherited the ego and pride that Lucifer had. In her eyes, he abandoned her, so fuck him. Yeah, but then eventually she went to go find him. That was the whole point. Like, she got so fucking pissed off that it shot her into the past. You know? In her eyes, she probably thought it shouldn't be on her to find him. I think that's why she was so upset and he didn't show up at the end for Chloe. I know, and it wasn't on me to try to make a relationship with my father. It should be him who's trying to make a relationship with me. But I just can't help but try and make it. I know I shouldn't make it personal, but you can't help make it like, when you have that type of connection, a very similar situation, you can't help but make it like personal. And so that's why I'm like, I still, you know, my opinions, that's why my opinions are my own, because I've been in a situation like that. I think what I take from Rory is she's just trying to figure out why. And that's why she was so mad. Like, why the fuck? Like, why? Why? It wasn't, I don't even think it was necessarily she felt like she had to try to make that relationship with Lucifer. I think she was just so pissed off. Like, why the fuck did you leave? You know? I think she's just trying to figure out answers. And I don't think there's necessarily anything wrong with that. When Chloe was dying and her dad wasn't there to comfort them, that's when she decided to really look for her. Well, look for him. And pretty much instantly she used time travel before she could even search. Yeah, but at this point in time, Rory's technically like what? 60 years old? No, 50 years old. She's approximately 50 years old, right? Because Chloe has her when Chloe's like 30 something, probably mid to late 30s, I'm thinking, no later than. So she's on her deathbed at like what, the age of 80, 90 max. So Rory is 50 to 60 years old by the time that she gets so pissed off that she travels back in time to find her dad that abandoned her. And she even said, like, whenever she went back into time, she's like, fuck you, you abandoned me, whatever. And, like, I'm so mad at you. But she's trying to figure out why more so than making a relationship. Yeah, she ended up, like, eventually growing, like, learning the fact that, you know, like, oh, all of this makes sense now. And now I want to, like, now it would be nice to have a relationship with him. But that's not the initial reason of why she went back into time. It's because she was so pissed off and she wants to know why. Yeah, she wants, at first, the very first instinct, she's like, I want to just fucking kill him because she's so mad. But she goes back into time to try to figure out why. Rory was so much like her dad. That must have really hurt for Chloe as well when she was growing up. Yeah, I mean, and that's another point. Lucifer did the same thing, right? Lucifer got so mad that he left. And yeah, I mean, he didn't time travel, but he left. He ended up like going down to hell. He rebelled and like all that. And Rory is the exact same that Lucifer was. So she did almost the exact same thing that Lucifer did, with a little bit of changes in there, but. Rory grew up hearing all about Lucifer's relationship, and Chloe loved Lucifer deeply. Oh yeah, I forgot that part. Which part? You saying you would be so mad you tracked the man down as very Meredith Grey. I only watched the first 8 seasons of Grey's Anatomy. I don't know what the... Yeah, I mean, it's understandable you think that way. I'm not defending the way that it was portrayed, but I also get why they went with how Rory didn't look for Lucifer in hell. Yeah, and I'm trying to figure out, I'm trying to see why in actuality she didn't do the things, but in theory she probably would have. Knowing what we know about Rory, it just doesn't really make sense. In theory, why didn't she try and search for him before? And we don't know. Maybe she did. Maybe she did go and try to find him. But, maybe Chloe caught her. Or maybe one of the Celestials, maybe Maze was like, no. And, saved her from doing something that the future her would have ended up regretting. Or, you can't tell me that for 50 to 60 years she didn't once try to go and find Lucifer. You know? Not one time in 50 to 60 years, with however old she is. If it helps, I didn't meet my dad until I was a preteen. Didn't see him again for another few years. So I guess different side of the same coin. My ego would have stopped me from trying. I mean, I stopped trying. But I tried until I was 15. And then specifically, I will always remember what happened. But my dad and I don't live in the same state. And I was visiting that state, Arizona. He lives in Arizona, and I was visiting when I was 15 years old, so this was 11 years ago. And I was visiting. I wasn't there for long. I was only there for a week. And I told him, hey, I'm going to be there for a week. If you want to come see me, yada, yada, yada. He's like, yeah, I want to come see you. And then, because I stayed at my grandmother's during the time. And he was supposed to come pick me up that morning. He didn't. It was an hour after the fact that he said he was going to come pick me up. I called him, and then he ended up telling me, oh, I don't want to see you. I made other plans. So when you're 15 years old and then you hear that, and then I was very upset. And I remember sitting on the bed, and then my grandma came and she was bringing laundry in. And my grandma got so mad. Oh, God. My grandma got so mad. I had never seen my grandma so mad. My grandma's a very religious woman. And she was not happy. I never seen her so mad. She is the type of religious, very super religious person to the point where she didn't cuss. She didn't drink. She didn't, she was super, super religious. And it just, yeah. So she... after that point in time, I stopped. After that moment, I stopped. So. And like we've been in contact kind of like off and on a couple of times, but it was on like whenever he decided that he wanted to talk or something, and then the conversation lasted for like 5-10 minutes. So I've talked to him over the phone like 2 or 3 times since then. And my stepdad, I consider my stepdad he's my real dad. But, you know. 38 Chloe, so I guess Rory was around 35 to 40. Well, it depends on how old she was on her deathbed, because she looked old. They didn't ever say what age she was when she was on her deathbed, but she looked to be about like 80, in between 80 and 90. Knowing Chloe, being as super stubborn as she was, she might have even been in between like 90 and 100. Because my grandma died when she was like 94, something like that. And because she was stubborn. She was stubborn, and she was like old, you know? But Chloe was born in 81, a few years after Lauren German. The writer said that it was about 40 to 50 years from the separation. So yeah, so it's about right. She was probably like 80-ish. So that would make Chloe late 40s, early 50s. You can't tell me that still in between like in between those 40 some odd, 50 some odd years, you wouldn't at least one time go and find him before then. I just realized besides Candy not being there, the other issue I have with that season is that we needed more Rory time. A while episode of Rory spending time, I scrolled too much, spending time with Chloe, and maybe the other as well. I wanted to see more of like maybe if they were to have more, I would say flashbacks, but it doesn't really make sense. Flash forwards of like Rory kind of growing up. I think that would have been cool. I really just wanted one thing from this season, and that was to reconcile Linda and Amenadiel, but they didn't do that. I'm kind of shocked that they didn't end up putting Linda or Amenadiel with anybody. And they kind of, like, I think it was episode 1. Yeah, I think it was episode 1 where they had a talk where Maze and Eve were, like, on the verge of breaking up, and then they got engaged. And Linda and Amenadiel were on the ends of the tables, like, talking to him or whatever. And then after that conversation, Amenadiel and Linda had their kind of conversation. And I was like, oh, they're so good together. But, yeah, they didn't end up putting them together. I mean, it's fine. I mean, I get why they didn't put Amenadiel with anyone, because he was God. But then, yet again, God was with his wife. And, I don't know. And then I thought that they were going to put his FTO with him. I thought that's what the direction was, that they were going with that. But then that didn't happen either, so I don't know. They kind of rushed the Rory Lucifer hangout and Rory Chloe interaction. They kind of did. I agree with you. There wasn't much of a Lucifer and Rory hangout. They kind of did rush that. I agree. So besides writing, why couldn't Lucifer visit Chloe? And when he went back to hell to be the ruler/therapist of hell, is it because of the promise he made to Rory? I think so. Yeah, I think it's the whole reason of why he didn't stay with him is because he promised Rory that he wouldn't. But I don't know why he wouldn't be able to go see. I mean, he probably wouldn't be able to go see Chloe, because that's the whole point of why Rory was pissed. Not necessarily because he didn't just abandon Rory, he abandoned Chloe. I mean, and Trixie too. But like the whole thought process of Rory was her and Chloe. Like he abandoned them, both of them. And then what made her really mad is because Chloe was on her deathbed and he didn't go see her. That's what really made Rory mad. So it wasn't even really that it had to do anything necessarily with Rory in the end of why she got so pissed off. Where did they say she was born in 1981? Never heard of it. I don't know. Somebody said. If she was born in 81, like, then that would make Rory late 40s, early 50s. Maybe. If what they said was true. But anyway. If you could change one major element, event, character, whatever from the show, what would it be? For me, I'd try to incorporate more of those darker elements and tones. Maybe rewrite the Pecker arc. I don't necessarily know if I would change something. I mean, with my opinion and how I like to watch shows and stuff, maybe if it was darker or more, I don't know. Lucifer is just a very sexual person, so I'm very surprised that we didn't see more of that type of stuff in this show. I don't know. I mean, I don't want to sound like a creep, but I mean, like, I like to watch love connections in shows, whether it be a kiss scene, a makeout scene, a sex scene, whatever you want to call it. I like seeing that stuff in shows, and Lucifer is a very, very, very sexual person. And we got some of that in season 5 and then even some of the previous seasons, like in the big earlier seasons, but it really wasn't, like, you know. So maybe more of that because of the type of character that he was. Holy crap. I'm trying to like hurry up with all of this. Hold on. I think it was just for writing purposes because honestly, Rory could have flown down to hell in her time and see Lucifer as a therapist kill him. So really, it's just a plot hole of writing. That's where I'm saying, like, yeah, in actuality, she didn't go find him because that's the whole point of what happened in season 6. But in theory, it doesn't make sense. In theory, it doesn't. That's the whole point of like what I'm saying. Hey, what's up, Roman? He didn't come back because it had already happened, so he couldn't change anything, or else Rory wouldn't have come back in time, and time would have collapsed in on itself. I know. You're better than me. I stopped trying with my dad last year. Oh, I mean, I don't try anything. Like, I mean, if and when Anna and I have children, I don't think that I would want him to be in their lives because I don't want my children to go through the same thing that I went through. And I still occasionally go back and forth on this because you never know, maybe he'll be different with grandchildren, but I don't know if I am willing to take that risk, and or maybe I have to because he would be a grandfather at that point and he would have a right to see them. But and this is all saying if he even wanted to, and I don't know, because biologically, yeah, he would be their grandfather, but in actuality, he wouldn't be, because my dad would be their grandfather. Like my stepdad would be their grandfather, because that's who my father is. Speaking of, it's my dad's birthday today. It's funny that we're talking about dads. But I don't think the writer anticipated how much fans would love Rory. I mean, judging from what I've seen on the net, she is an instant fan favorite. Oh yeah, because she's Lucifer, but a female version of Lucifer. And she's good looking too, so you can't beat that. I mean, Lucifer is good looking too. I'm not sexually attracted to Lucifer, but Rory, yeah, it's a little bit different. I'm a very picky person, especially with food and entertainment, so it's amazing that I love Rory right away. I think it's hard not to love her right away, because she's so, like, just badass. I just realized this season committed the greatest sin of all time. Mr. Set out bitch didn't show up in the first episode. Yes, Mr. Set Out Bitch should have been there. I don't remember who that was. Season 2 aired in 2016. Amenadiel said he blessed a couple 35 years ago. That would put that in 1981. Oh, okay. See episode Quid Pro Ho. Yeah, that makes sense then. But then again, the devil got his love. God had his love. So why not Amenadiel? They could have done it, but they didn't want to. I know. So that's what, I mean, that's exactly what I said. Because I'm like, well, maybe it's because he was God, but then that doesn't make sense because God himself had his wife. So yeah, I mean, you're right. It doesn't make sense. And I don't know, maybe Amenadiel wasn't supposed to be with anyone, but I mean, that kind of sucks. But I also wish that they would have put Linda with someone too. We saw a lot of Lucifer debauchery in season 2. I mean, I know that we saw that, but like that was it. We didn't even get flashbacks. Like recently, we didn't get flashbacks or, you know, anything. And I know that he loves Chloe, and I don't think that he would be like, even throughout that whole time that she was like, they couldn't see each other, I don't think that he would end up being with anyone else because like, yeah, like Lucifer is a very sexual person, but I think he loves Chloe so much that he wouldn't be with someone else. But I'm saying like the whole, like the show in general, I'm surprised that we didn't see more of that. Like we only got it in season 2. Like it didn't really make sense, you know? You wanted his love connections to be more graphic. Why not? Is it such a shame to say that? All you guys probably think I'm some weird pervy person now. But like, why not? Why not? It's Lucifer. It's Lucifer. I just want to see the actual, and I thought that's what we were gonna get more of since Netflix picked it up, but we didn't really. I mean, yeah, we got like Tom's butt a couple of times, but that was pretty much it. I remember the first time we saw his butt, and like that was season 5. And I because it panned down to his butt, I was reacting to it too, and I was like, oh, that is a butt. We actually see Tom's butt. But like that was pretty much it. The jewelry thief from season 2, the first soul to go from hell to heaven. Don't remember. Oh. Yes. Sorry. I forgot what his actual name, his thing was. I remember. What was his name though? It wasn't like what did they kept calling him? It was like his first name. That's what I remember him by, was his first name. Lee. That's what it was. He was in season 2, 3, 4, and 5 first episodes. Yeah, I know. I figured it out. But I forgot that they called him the other name. It was on Fox. Of course, we weren't going to see sexual stuff much. I know, but then it got moved over to Netflix. So that's why I thought we were going to get more at that point. If you want that, watch Sex Education on Netflix. It's an amazing show. You guys probably think I'm like some creepy perv now. No, I'm just saying, like, because I just want to see the full potential of like what the character is supposed to be. If I really wanted to watch like sex stuff, I'm just gonna watch the L Word. I mean, hello. But what I'm saying is like the character of Lucifer is a very, very sexual person. I mean, he says it all the time. That's who he is. That's what he is. I'm just surprised that we haven't seen more of that. Is all I'm saying. Lee showed up in season 5 twice, so that may be why they wouldn't show him in season 6. Yeah, maybe. That's what I'm thinking. Something I always found ironic. Maze is the most sexual of the female cast, and she's the only one who never ended up naked. Chloe, Ella, Linda, Eve, all naked at one point, but not Maze. Was it a character or not a character? Was it an actress thing, maybe? Chloe was never naked. Well, no, they didn't show her naked. She was naked, like, under sheets and, stuff, but I don't think they ever showed her naked. I've seen more of Lauren German's skin on her social media than we did as Chloe. The most we got was when she was when she dropped a towel in season 1. Chloe doesn't show skin nor sings. Are we sure she doesn't sing? Did she not sing in season 5? I don't remember. I thought she did. I thought she sang in season 5. Maybe I'm just thinking I don't know. In season 1, she dropped the towel while clearing her house. She woke up naked in his bed, and in season 6, we got the tail end of their session. But we didn't see her naked. Yeah, I know. Like, I remember all that part, but, like, yeah, I don't remember seeing her naked either. It's funny because seeing Lauren German's social media and, like, her character is Chloe, I don't think they're anything alike. Which I'm not saying is a good thing or a bad thing. It's just kind of funny. It's funny when you see an actor and actress nothing like their character. It would have been great if the devil would have been in a poly relationship. He's the devil, for God's sake. I would have wanted to see that diversity in his relationships. I know. Well, that's just kind of what I'm talking. Like, more relationships, not just something sexual, but something like more, like the different kind of relationships and everything too. Lauren German does not sing. It was a point of argument between her and the showrunners. Oh, well, that makes sense. She never sang. Huh. The argument was a friendly one. Oh, well, that's good at least. She can't sing. She didn't. It was Trixie who sang. I just remember, what was that scene where maybe it was just all Lucifer, where he was playing the piano and he was singing, and it was the song, oh shit, what was it? And they did some fun, I think they just showed her, because they showed her, I can't remember what song it was. It was a good one though. It was because it was in season 5, he was playing the piano, he was thinking of her, and then it was like going across. Shit. I can't remember what the name of the song was. That's the scene that I was like thinking maybe she sang, but I guess she didn't. She did sing karaoke in the karaoke episode in season 5. Unless they dubbed over her voice. Lauren sings behind the scenes. There's a video of Tom playing the piano and the two were singing together. She barely had a line on karaoke. Lucifer has a really good voice. He does have a really good voice. He can change his voice too, because him playing Lucifer, like, that's not what he actually sounds like either. It's funny because I didn't know that until I was like watching an interview or something with him, and then his voice was completely different, and I'm like, whoa. Yeah, Laws sings, what? But not for real public consumption. Oh. You're thinking of the Wicked Game. Oh, yes, that one. Yes, thank you. That was going to drive me nuts. Yeah, Wicked Game. But she didn't sing. Yeah, I guess she didn't. I was thinking that maybe she did, because like the whole scene, like it would have made sense if she would sing with that song, but I guess she didn't. Anyway. Alrighty, guys. I was gonna end it up at like 45 minutes ago so I can edit this other video, but that didn't happen, so that's fine. I'm just gonna basically get ready for bed now. So yeah. Sorry, Lauren German equals Muffin equals Muff. What? They have a lot of nicknames for each other. Gotcha. That makes sense. Or it doesn't make sense, but anyway. I'm gonna go ahead and jump off here. I'm gonna go get myself ready for bed. But if you guys want to ever talk to me when I'm not live, Twitter's the best place. Feel free to tag me and stuff, or send me things or whatever. But I think what this season needed was more episodes. It's the one thing I don't like about many shows these days, the shorter seasons, especially with Netflix. Yeah. Well, technically Lauren sang in season 2. You know you enjoyed our chat. I did. Between the all of the different conversations and being mad and then being not mad and anyway. But I love you guys. I will see you guys next Wednesday. Like I said, if you want to try to get with me any other time, Twitter's the best place. But bye, guys. I love you. Good night.